Let's talk about campaign finance reform. What does that mean? Well, but first, start the timer. Let's get rolling. Campaign finance reform. Campaign, that's when you're running for government office, you've seen people campaign. They go around, shake hands, they're kissing babies, their ads are on TV, you got the signs everywhere. A campaign is the process of getting elected. Finance is just another word for spending money. Spending the money to get elected. All that money you spend on the flyers and the billboards and the commercials and being able to travel all around the state or all around the country to spread the word, that costs money. So we're talking about how you spend money to finance or pay for the campaign. And then last, reform means change. You can see a caterpillar turning into a beautiful butterfly. What we're talking about today is campaign finance reform. We want to change the way we spend money on elections. Well, we do, some people don't, but we're going to discuss the idea of maybe we should change the way we finance elections. This is a big issue for a lot of people. They really believe in campaign finance reform. We got to get the money out of the elections, they'll say. The way it is now, you want to get elected? It's going to take a lot of money. The Republican Party spends a bunch of money on TV ads. They pay for your assistants and the candidates to travel all around the state in this example, or all around the country. They got radio ads. They've got a bunch of stuff they're spending money on to get the person elected so they get in the office. Money is a big part of this. Who wins, do you think? Well, the guy that's got more TV ads, the guy that's all around the state more often, the guy that's on the radio. Probably the person with the most money. That's probably not the best system. Is that the system that we want? Do we want to elect our officials based on who spent the most money, who raised the most money? You probably see this on TV. You may, unfortunately, get a bunch of emails like, we need $5 more. Hey, we're doing great. But you know what would be great? If you can just donate $10 more to the election, then maybe we can win. Maybe we should get all the money out of these elections. Maybe that is the best plan. We had this election in 2012, Republicans versus Democrats. There's a ton of money getting spent on this election. Are we really picking the best candidate, or are we just picking the candidate that spends the most money or spends the money the wisest? Is it all about the money? Is this all that it ever was? Well, there's another added layer of difficulty here. We've got interest groups involved. Interest groups. I alluded to interest groups in the last video. The NRA is an interest group. Their interest is gun rights. They do not want gun restrictions. And so the NRA, this interest group, tries to make sure that we have laws that protect gun rights or stop gun regulation. The NEA, National Education Association, Educator Association, it's a bunch of teachers. What is their interest? They are interested in schools and making schools better. And so they come together and they spend a bunch of money to make sure that there are laws that promote better schools. They're an interest group. Both these interest groups, different interests, same thing though. So, for example, the NRA will hire a bunch of lobbyists. What are the lobbyists? We'll talk more about lobbyists in another video, but basically they're going to be the employees of the interest group, and their job is to lobby or persuade government officials to follow the interests of the interest group, which in this case is the NRA. So here's how it might work. This is an example, not the example, not the way that it always goes, but the NRA hires the lobbyist, and they give the lobbyist cash. The lobbyist then goes to the government politician and tries to do them favors, tries to help them out, because if the lobbyist helps out the representative, then they then might get the representative to help out the lobbyist, and the representative, by helping out the lobbyist, will help do what the NRA wants. So, for example, the lobbyist may take the representative, Mr. Robert Hurt, to go play golf, and the lobbyist will pay for it, and they'll go on this great trip and have a wonderful time and do all kinds of fun stuff. And then in return, the lobbyist will say, hey, Mr. Hurt, how about you do me a favor now and vote no on the assault rifle ban? This is not how it always works, but this is definitely something that happens in our government. We like to believe that I elected a guy and he goes to the office and he votes for me, the people. Not really the case. A lot of times what happens is the interest group helped give money to get this guy elected, or the interest group did some favors for this guy. Now this guy needs to do some favors for the interest group, and that is to vote for their interest or what they believe in. That often is the case as well. It's not always the case, but this is definitely an issue. Enough of an issue that we need to talk about campaign finance reform. Maybe get the money out. Maybe stop having all these golf trips. Maybe this isn't the best way to run our government. So the interest group, in this example, we use the NRA. The National Rifle Association. They are pro-gun. They do not want gun restrictions. They will use their money and they will give it to the politician to help the politician get elected. And once the politician gets elected, they'll expect the politician to do them favors in return. And the favor they want is to fight for their interest. What is their interest? No government regulation of guns, gun freedom. They don't want you to take their guns away. They give money to get something in return. Again, an example, they'll give money to Mitt Romney. Let's look at this bigger picture. They give money to Mitt Romney, try to get him elected because they want no gun restrictions. They want gun freedom. The voters vote for Mitt Romney. But the voters want gun control. They want restrictions. They vote for Mitt Romney. Who do you think he votes for? What type of gun policy will he enforce? Will he listen to the voters? Or will he listen to the people that gave him money? You probably already know the answer to this one, folks. He's going to listen to the money. You probably would listen to the money. So the interest group gives him money, gets him elected. They voted for him. That got him elected. Well, he owes them a favor. Should represent the people, but this is not. Now, this isn't always the way it works, but this is a very common practice in our government enough so that we have to have a conversation about this money. Should this even exist? Even if it only exists a couple times, we shouldn't have him working for the interest group. This is a democracy of the people, for the people, by the people. You should represent the people, not the interest group. Again, you got to get the people of the state to vote for you if you want to go into the Senate. You need to go all around this state. You want to be in the Senate, you got to go over here. You got to go to Northern Virginia. You got to come back over here to Norfolk and get on the coast. You got to travel all around. You need TV ads. I mean, how can you be everywhere at once? TV is a good way to be everywhere at once. But yeah, you got to travel. Maybe you have your assistants spreading the word for you. You've got other people out there telling people, canvassing the area, spreading the word about why you're the best person to go to the Senate. Maybe you got a bunch of radio ads. What's radio? Well, maybe it's like on a podcast or something. I don't know. It costs money. All of this costs money. A lot of people that appear on TV, a lot of people that appear on podcasts, they're there because they're getting paid to do it. Money. Now, the Republican Party will give some of this money to spread the word, but also the interest groups get involved. The interest groups will give the candidate the money to pay for TV ads. The interest group will give money to pay for the car that they're putting miles and miles and miles on, pay for all the assistants, pay for all the hotel rooms, pay for all of the parades, pay for all the bumper stickers, pay for all the pens, pay for all of the billboards. And they're going to want something in return. They give the money to the candidate. The candidate then votes for what the interest group wants. But it gets worse. It always gets worse. This is social studies. Let's take this problem. Instead of solving the problem, you know what we ought to do? Let's put it on steroids and make it worse. Let's juice it up. And that's what we did. Unbelievable. We had a problem. All right, well, let's fix. No. Let's make the problem worse. So worse than just an interest group giving money. What if we take multiple interest groups? What if we take rich people? What if we take rich corporations? And instead of just giving some money to a politician, what we'll do is we'll take all of our money combined and we will funnel it into what we call a political action committee. This is the legal way. This is basically a legal loophole for them to juice the system up. They couldn't do it legally, so what they did was they created a group, and then through this group, they can all secretly funnel all of their money into this group. We'll call it, this thing's called Restore Our Future. Well, Restore Our Future, that sounds really good. They're probably not up to anything bad. So they take all of their money, they funnel it in, and then that group gives a ton of money. And I mean, really, what is it? He's a puppet. He's a puppet for the Political Action Committee. What is the Political Action Committee? It's basically a way to cover up all the people underneath that are giving them money. It's very secretive. This probably shouldn't work. At least here we know the NRA is giving money to him. They control him. Here, we trace it, and once we get here, that's a wall. We can't see this stuff in a lot of cases. We don't really know where the money is coming from. We just know Restore Our Future is giving a bunch of money. Well, who is Restore Our Future? Well, Restore Our Future is the NRA, the NRLC, it's Fox News, it's Donald Trump in this example. Now, this is not to pick on the NRA and the Republicans because the Democratic Party does the exact same thing with their interest groups. This is both parties are involved in this nonsense. I know if you look at this oh man, he's hammering the Republicans, he's hammering the NRA. It's not the case. It's both parties are guilty of this sin. And all politicians, not just Mitt Romney. I know we're giving Mitt Romney a hard time here. Sorry, he was the easy guy to point at when I made this PowerPoint. So basically the result of this system, the system that we had today, the system that we want to reform or change is it's all about money. And simply it looks like money is more important than the people. Money is more important than people. That's why we need to reform. That's why we need campaign finance reform. If we get rid of the money, we don't have all this nonsense. If we make it easier to run for an election, we tone down our elections. I mean, every year we are seeing the campaign costs rise and rise and rise. It's going up and up and up. They're overspending and spending and spending. This guy spends more money, he gets elected. The next year, these guys spend more money, they get elected. This time they spend more money, they get elected. It's just going up and up and up. Instead of removing money from our elections, we're just making it worse and worse and worse. This is probably not the best way to run a democracy. It's not the best way to run a society. But if we were able to take the money out, then you would take out the influence of the interest groups. And then we would have an election that's all about the people. And the representative would represent the people. And when he's in the Senate, he would vote for laws based on what the people want, not what the interest group wants. We got to get the money out. If we could limit the amount of money, we might elect the best. Not the richest, or not the one who's serving the interest group that has the most money. Now, we've picked on the NRA a lot, but what is the NRA? The NRA, the National Rifle Association, this interest group, is an organization that represents people. It is people. It is a group of individuals. And if we want to look at the Constitution, and this is what the Supreme Court ruled, that the National Rifle Association has the right to spend this money. We can spend money on whatever we want. It is our First Amendment freedom. It protects our freedom of speech. They argue, and they argued successfully in the Supreme Court, that by giving money to politicians, they are exercising their freedom of speech. They are exercising their freedom to tell the politicians what they believe in. When they give money to Mitt Romney, and they give money and say, don't take away our guns, that is their freedom of speech. They are allowed to give money and tell the politicians, don't take away our gun rights. They are exercising their First Amendment right to protect their Second Amendment right. And the Supreme Court agreed with this. Some people completely disagree. They say, no, you are stretching the First Amendment. The First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of expression does not mean giving politicians money. The NRA says, no, we are expressing our beliefs. Now, we can express our beliefs by saying what we believe, but also by giving money to politicians. Stretch, but the Supreme Court agreed with it. And so the money is here to stay. And the problem is, at the end of the day, we find out that the money is so vital. You need the money if you want to get elected. If you refuse the money, if you refuse to listen to the NRA, you won't have any money. And if you don't have any money, you will not get elected. It's just the way it is. We see a lot of politicians today trying to only take money from individuals. They only take small donations. Very hard to get elected that way. Now, what happens? What do you think a congressman does more? If the money is so important, what do you think this guy does all day? Put a mustache on him. What do you think he spends his time? Does he spend his time making laws and talking to his constituents, talking to the American people, researching what's going on in America, doing the day-to-day work of a legitimate representative? Or, if money is so important, does he spend all day raising money? Because if you don't have the money, you're not going to be a representative for very long. That's what he does. That's what they do. Here's an example. There it is. This is an example of what a representative will do. A daily log of, oh, you're a congressman or you're a senator and you're going to pass laws? Not so much. Here's what I need you to do. 4 hours, you're going to spend on the phone calling, asking for money. 2 hours, you might meet with some of your constituents over issues, but you also might meet with the people that have given you money. You got 2 hours on the committee floor. Then you've got strategic outreach. This is a fancy way of meeting, raise money. Strategic outreach. You know what it is? Go to breakfast with people, ask them for money. Meet and greet and ask them for money. Go on TV and radio and ask for money. Then you get recharge time. I guess you get to sleep for a little bit. Then it's the next day. Back on the phone, calling people, asking for money. You may have received some of these. Now you meet with your constituents. And hopefully you're meeting with the people and passing laws that they want. But a lot of the people that you're meeting with, they're again asking for money, or these are the people that gave you money and now you have to meet with them because they gave you money. Committee floor, this is where you actually get to do your job. Wow, 2 hours a day you do your job. Now, another hour, all right, go get some more money. Breakfast, meet with people, get money, meet and greet, get some money, do press, which means talk to the news, and basically you're asking for money. You may not, you may just have regular press. Recharge, all right. More phone calls, ask for money. Oh, now I got to meet with the people that gave me money and do what they tell me to do. Money is probably a big problem. We should get rid of it, but it's not going to go anywhere. We are stuck with it, folks. What if they can't raise enough money? Where do they turn? You know what the answer is here. If you can't get enough money from the people like you're seeing, you know where they're going to go. There. Sorry, it took me a second to load up. They got to turn to the interest groups. They got to turn to the lobbyists. If you don't have money, you're not going to get elected. Just the way it is. If you can't raise enough money, you got to go to these groups, and then you got to vote for these groups, and then you're back to being a puppet. I need to clear this off. Clear all this. How do I clear it? There it is. Beautiful. You turn into a puppet. We got to get the money out of our elections, or maybe we don't.